Hey, good optometry morning. So crystal clear lenses used to be the gold standard for your glasses, but that might not be true anymore. Hey, I'm Dr. Michael Nelson, your YouTube eye doctor, also known as Dr. EyeCanada, and I'm so excited to share with you Transition's Gen S portfolio of products. So I'm going to get into what is included and what's not included in the Gen S portfolio in just a minute. But before we do that, let's dive deep into the features that make the Gen S portfolio so unique. So first of all, let's talk about what Transition refers to as Gen Speed, but let me reassure you, the speed of this lens is not the best part of this lens, but we're going to get to that in just a little bit. So one thing that most of my patients will complain about their Transition lenses is that they don't fade back to clear fast enough. So for the past 5 years, Transitions has worked really hard in developing some ultra-responsive, supercharged dyes that will change very quickly. And before I tell you just how fast this lens is, we need to talk about the categories of sunglasses. So sunglasses will typically come in 4 categories ranging from 0 up to 4. And now 0 is basically a perfectly clear lens with just a UV coating. And 4 is the darkest you can make a sunglass lens. Basically, it's too dark to drive in. Now, the standard sunglass lens is going to be a category 3, and that's what you're looking for. Now, typically Transition lenses in the past have had the problem that they don't go quite dark enough, and they often might only get to a category 2 sunglass lens. But the Gen S lens will now get easily to a category 3, and it does that super fast. It gets to a category 2 sunglass in about 3 seconds, and it gets to a full category 3 sunglass in 25 seconds. So this lens definitely gets dark very quickly, but it also fades back super quick. A couple of generations back was the Gen 7 lens, and the Gen 7 took about 8 minutes to fade back to a clear lens. Now in 2019, this Transitions released Gen 8, and the Gen 8 was twice as fast from generation 7. Gen 8 turned from dark to clear in about 4 minutes. Now here's what you're waiting for. Gen S goes from dark to clear in 2 minutes. That's incredible. So the next feature of the Gen S portfolio is talking about the Gen style, and basically this refers to the colors that are available. So there are 8 colors that this lens is going to come in. It comes in gray, brown, graphite green, amber, amethyst, sapphire, emerald, and a brand new color called ruby red. And so the really cool thing about the colors is that they're going to give you a lot of options to complement your frame and also give you some options to choose a preferred color for what you like under certain lighting conditions. But the really cool thing that they've done with this lens is that they've made the color hues consistent as this lens changes in its darkness. So in the past, Transition lenses, when they go in different darknesses, their actual color hue changes, and it doesn't stay consistent. But this lens is designed so the color hue stays evenly consistent no matter how dark the lens is. So the next thing Transition refers to is the Gen Smart, and basically this refers to how this lens makes your vision better. So when you get your eyes checked, you're under the perfect conditions. There's the perfect room conditions, there's perfect contrast, and so you can see really well through the phoropter and the instruments we show. But when you go out in the real world, things change. So you're out in bright light, you walk into the shades, your eyes have to dark adapt, you go back into bright light, your eyes are bleached out, you might go indoors and you're still bleached out, and it takes a while to adapt. And so that can make your visual function a little bit worse. Now, Gen S can help with that. So studies they've done with this lens have shown that individuals that wear the Gen S lens, their photo stress recovery time will be 6 seconds faster than people in a clear lens. And so what that means is when you're walking indoors and outdoors, going from light to shade, your contrast is going to stay in the optimal situation, and you're not going to suffer those debilitating glare and trouble with dark adaptation when you go from light to dark. Another cool thing that they looked at is glare. So when we go out in bright light, we're exposed to glare, and there's a couple of ways that we can measure your glare. And one is a subjective measure. There's a glare scale. You can tell how much you experience the glare. The other way is an objective measure, which you can measure how big your eyes are open. And so they did this objective measure, and what they found is individuals that were wearing the Gen S lens, they had an aperture that was about 4 millimeters larger than those that weren't. And basically that means they weren't squinting as much under glare situation. And so that's going to make your eyes more comfortable, but it's also going to reduce the amount of wrinkling and crinkling and crow's feet that you might be developing from squinting all the time. So let's talk about what's changed in the whole Transition portfolio. So basically the Gen S portfolio released in April 2024, is going to be replacing the Gen 8 signature lenses and the Gen 8 colors. So now the things that are going to stay the same in the transition portfolio is the extra active portfolio. So the extra active portfolio includes the extra active colors of brown, gray, and green, and it also includes the extra active polarized lens, and it also includes the extra active style mirror. So those are all staying the same. We're just replacing the Gen 8 signature collection and the Gen 8 colors collection with the Gen S collection. And so if you aren't familiar with that extra active portfolio, I've done another video about that, and you can watch that right here. And with that, have a great optometry day.